In a dystopian universe, billions of light years from Earth, a former human, now humanoid, lies on the maker's obsidian slate. Cold, void, until the word is spoken in his pneuma. There is life. This project is a meticulously and intentionally calculated musical experience where sound design and composition meets art. Created for true listeners and those who appreciate the art of visual sound design. The New Adventures of Professor Clock series is an intentionally mixed and unmastered organic project built from a structured compilation of intensely produced music with ultrasonically crafted sounds, elements, and energies.
What's up, y'all? Hope you guys are doing all right. Thank you for tuning in. This is my first Periscope. I'm glad you guys are here, the first ones to arrive. Since you are the first ones to arrive, if you want tickets to the concert next Friday, you're like, what concert are you talking about? There's going to be a concert where I've collaborated. Some of the music that I'm going to be sharing tonight has been commissioned to a group called Cooper Morgan Dance Company, actually a local dance company. They've been around for 11 years here in Jacksonville. And I know DeWitt Cooper, he's co-artistic director and co-founder, and Savory Morgan. They founded this company a few years ago based on just literally conversating about dance and their love for dance. And they've imparted their work over the last few years to Jacksonville's best and brightest dancers, and I have the dubious honor of collaborating with this wonderful powerhouse, this team. There are about 11 company members that are going to be performing music from the Professor Clock Trilogy, as we're calling it, because it is 3 volumes. There are 16 newly choreographed works, and they're going to be dancing to something that I created. I'm going to do a lot of talking tonight, but I want your feedback, and I want you guys to give me hearts or whatever you guys do on Periscope. If you like what I'm saying, if you like the music, I would love some feedback in reference to, obviously Tommy, thanks for your comments about the intro. It's haunting. That was a track called 11, 12, 13. And I like sequential numbers. That song was created on November 12th, 2013. Thank you. So it's something that I created. I'll tell you a little bit about the project, because something that you won't find online is something that I'm actually going to give you verbally. And this Periscope broadcast will be up for 24 hours, and after that it's going to be gone. So you're getting like a sneak peek into my mind and what I haven't shared, and why I created this, and what the story is really about, and why I decided to stop working on this project and give it over to someone else to create. So I also play the introduction, which sort of tells you about the basis of what this project is. I'm not I can't say, I would never call myself a musician by any means. I am a vocalist, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm an ASCAP publisher and writer member, and I am obviously a producer because I've produced this body of work, which I consider to be my magnum opus. It started probably about 4 to 5 years ago, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But I need some questions, some Q&A. So before I ramble on, Have you been wondering who Professor Clark is, what this is about? If you want to just do that thing right there below there and ask me a few questions, I would love some feedback. What's up, Howard Leonard? Leonard Howard? Let me tell y'all about Howard. I've known Howard since 1999. I had a gig, and it was a gospel production at a company, or a record company, that had a stage built inside this record company here in Jacksonville, but it was on Jacksonville Beach, Cypress Records. I'm not sure if they're still around. I think they are. And I came up with this whole cool project, and me and another pianist had some creative differences. It wasn't, I don't think, and I could easily take the credit. Tommy will probably remember this story, but what happened was that literally the day before the gig, we were having a rehearsal, and this guy showed up drunk, and he took a break and went across the street to the ABC. So if you know Beach Boulevard, you know 3rd Street, you know there's an ABC that's been there for a minute. Bruh went across the street, and he had some liquor. He came back, and he was drunk. And I'm like, how can you play gospel music and you drinking during the show? I just didn't understand that. So he started cussing me out, and needless to say, he was fired. And last minute, Howard came. Tommy called. It's like, I know this cat that plays at my church. You should really just give him a shot. Howard came, and in record time, learned the material, and the rest is history. In a band called the Groove Coalition. You can go to groovecoalition.com, and you could see what we do. We pride ourselves on the groove, and it is a coalition, so it's a temporary arrangement of a group of people that come together specifically for one thing and one thing only, and that's just to groove. So this band was formed, and Howard is still a part of that band. So Howard and I have been playing since 1999. That shows you how long I've been doing this thing. So thank you, Howard, for being here. If you're still in the room, I can't see who's still here or not. It tells me I had 6 viewers, and it's like only 3 people that I'm talking to. I'm talking to a very small audience, which makes this very intimate. Hey, Chris, thank you for joining. Glad you came. Can you guys hear me okay? Just give me some hearts or something if you can hear me fine. I need to know. Let me know. All right, cool. Sounds good. And obviously you heard the music. I got the speaker pretty close. I don't have like a professional setup. I'm in like my secret hideout. It's a secret hideaway place right now. And I'm going to do some more talking, but let me give you a little bit of background about this project and why I created it. Thank you for being here. I'm glad to have you here, man. It's good to have you here, for real, seriously. Over the last few weeks, I've had an amazing revelation about the comparison of dance when it was paired to music. This is the first time in my lifetime where I've had the privilege of working with any dance company in any capacity, watching experienced choreographers conjure up magic to movement. Think about that word for a second. Movement. And it was strategically produced, and it's a humbling and very sobering experience for me. So while sitting in on rehearsals recently, I've seen firsthand the process of creativity from a different vantage point. The type of creativity that derived from a totally different vantage point is almost foreign to me, and I now have utter respect and admiration for the process of being involved in the world of dance for the first time. I have a newfound sense of awareness that I know that there is a sense of maturity and personal evolution that transpired recently by turning over the reins of creativity and stepping inside to let and allow someone else to take what I sketched on my personal canvas and trust the process. That's key. There has to be an allowance of space to create. There has to be an allowance of space to create. There has to be an allowance of space to create. Think about that. When the movement is interrupted, so is the flow. The allowing of creativity is squelched. And if you try to control someone else's creative process, what happens is you stop the flow altogether. I'm sure those of you who are in the industry or create in any capacity, whether it be at your office or a creative team or you're working in a band or music, if that flow is squelched or stopped, you could lose it. Sometimes you can't get it back. It could be lost and it'll never return, or it may take a while to return. So true collaboration, in my opinion, requires a great deal of trust and collaboration on both sides in order for the work to take a life of its own. Me being a music producer, I feel that there's complete technical and yet an organic correlation which occurs between producing tracks to seeing the process of choreography to movement. Thus, those special aha moments when the proverbial light bulb goes off. The New Adventures of Professor Clock series is my personal magnum opus. It was created as sounds of solace, sonic solace. And these compositions came during the transition of life to life, and some came from a place of loss or the absence of something that I actually hoped for. So think about that. When I say life to life, I think about a transition from this lifetime, which is one of my songs called Lifetime. And for those of you who are planning to come to the concert next week, you'll get a chance to see firsthand the interpretation, the Cooper Morgan Dance Company's interpretation of Lifetime. And it's interesting because life to life, think about that. From this life to the next life. We never know. Nobody ever comes back and never tell us, man, you know what? Don't go over there, or there's a heaven or there's a hell. They just never come back and tell us. There are people that claim to tell us that they hear from the other side, or that they could communicate with the afterlife. I've never experienced any of that, and I don't know what exists, but I know that there is life. And that's sort of like about the story of Professor Clock. So I've often compared myself to a painter who starts at a canvas preparing my own portions of gesso and adding limited color or abstract. All right. Did y'all like that? Cool. Cool. That's my favorite track. It's very textured intentionally. Gosh. So again, 5125. It's like a recall and response. It's like, okay, the alarm at the end really is like, should we really be alarmed that this is the end of the world? Is the world going to end? Is Harold Camping said, is this rapture going to take place? As a matter of fact, I remember when the day of the rapture was supposed to happen, I was fine. I was like, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah. And never got raptured. Needless to say, the alarm goes off, and that's the same alarm that you hear if there is a warning or you should seek cover. And that was my sort of response. Like, you know, is this all a lie? And of course, here we are on June 17th. You're watching me on Periscope. I see that there's 5 people in the room. You say it felt good? Oh my God. That's what I like to hear that. Okay. I'm all excited. It means a lot to me from another artist to tell me that the music felt good. I really appreciate it, Takara. I love you. I miss you too. I haven't seen you in a long time. We need to work on that. Like, we're right here in Jacksonville and need to see each other. So that piece, the choreography, I can't talk a whole lot about it, but you have to see it. Again, what I've done is I've taken something that is with this sense that you hear with these ears, and then Cooper Morgan Dance Company has completely choreographed something that you will actually visibly see and sonically hear at the same time. It may be sensory overload to some people, but I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I'm honored and just, like I said, humbled by what they're doing and how the process of creation occurs. I'm going to play a couple more tracks, and I know you guys are joining. A lot of you are joining us. Thank you for joining. Welcome. My name is Damien Lamar. I'm talking about my magnum opus, the New Adventures of Professor Clock series, working on a new project called the Professor Clock Trilogy. And I'll talk about a little bit about the actual volumes. They were done in phases. So back in 2012, when I first started creating these tracks, it was during the transition of a very, very dear human being to me, my grandmother Bernice Elizabeth Robinson. A lot of people say that I'm like her in male form, and she gave a lot of herself to me. She imparted a lot of poetry and appreciation for theater, and she imparted for her ninth grade level of learning. She started having babies, and I remember my grandmother saying, one day I woke up and I was just having these babies, and I realized that I'm never going to go back to school. I'll never get my education. But she did something called continuing education, and she continued her own education, but in the form of reading through literacy and understanding poetry. One of her favorite poets was Helen Steiner Rice, and she also did a piece by Langston Hughes called The Negro Mother, which she actually became. Those of you who had the privilege of meeting my grandmother, you understood that she was quite serious about her poetry. And she would hold a room captive. If you let her do one, she would probably sometimes she'd do two. And then she'd go, okay, one more. she'd do three. And that was her way of expressing her learning and her desire for continuing her education. I lost my grandmother on March 19th, 2012. And during that period of time, I lived in her house, and she passed away and she transitioned. I'm not grieving anymore. I think of her often. She's with me. This project has become her in a sense. What I did is I started creating some of this music as a mechanism of therapy. Like I said, they were sonic sounds of solace. And I wanted music to comfort me during my grieving period, something that I could like, something that I could identify with, something that would console me, because nothing else would. So I started, as an artist or a painter would, going into the studio and literally painting and creating this work. And the first volume is called Light Travel. And at the end of the volume, and I was working on this while she was in hospice, and when she passed away, a couple days after she passed, I got a call. Actually, no, it wasn't a call. I was sitting down with my aunt, and we were at the Friday after, and someone said, Damien, you sing, right? Okay. And she's like, yeah, why don't you sing something? So I sing Over the Rainbow, which is one of my favorite a cappella songs to sing. And she's like, you're not going to believe this, but they're having an audition at Stage Aurora Musical Theater, a Stage Aurora Theater Company, which is a local theater company here in Jacksonville. And they're having auditions for The Wizard of Oz. Well, The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies. And I'm like, okay, I have theater experience from high school and done some stuff in elementary school, but I don't really have any theater experience. Like, I'll audition. I'm a singer. Showed up at the audition, and I would sing, if I were the king of the forest, not queen, not duke, not prince, that song that the Cowardly Lion sings. And I got the part, only for them to call me on Monday, when the audition was Saturday, and say, you know what, we've had a casting change and we have a production change, and instead of us doing The Wizard of Oz, because we had a primarily African-American audition, a lot of people were African-American, they showed up to this audition, they were, that would be weird to kind of do the Wizard of Oz with a primarily African-American cast. So we're going to do The Wiz, and we want you to play the part of the Tin Man. I'm like, oh. Because I was not really a fan, primarily because I was scared to death when I was a kid of seeing, thank you Chris, seeing the Wiz on television, which was a Hollywood version. Quincy Jones scored, and Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell, those guys starred in it. And I was like, until I did the first read through. And the first read through was the actual Broadway, the original Broadway version of The Wiz. And I read it and I had a newfound appreciation because it held true to the story of the Wizard of Oz that I've loved and I grew up to love. So I was doing the Tin Man and doing The Wiz and going to rehearsals, and part of this rehearsal and going to work and coming home, and when I didn't have rehearsals and on the weekends, when I didn't have gigs, I would start working on this material. And then a new song was born, and that song is called Lifetime. And that song is an homage to a person or being that has come into your life and has imparted something of their lifetime and left you with an impression, their impression. My grandmother left me with an impression of life. And I started making the music, and this music was just layers and layers of frequencies, and I studied these frequencies, and I found that the higher the frequency, the more love that was emitted. The lower the frequency, the more fear and hate and darkness. And I'm like, this song I want to be a very high frequency song. So some of the songs at the end of it are very high frequencies, which was, again, everything I did with this project was intentional. And then magically, I got lyrics to it. You'll find that song on SoundCloud with the lyrics, of course, not the instrumental version, but you'll find that song on SoundCloud. You can find it on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. It's out there. And those of you who've heard it, this is the actual instrumental version of it. And the Cooper Morgan Dance Company they've choreographed this piece, and it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And it talks about that life-to-life experience. And let me play it for you real quick. I hope you like it. Let's see. I'm trying to get used to this camera, this whole flip thing. Anyway, the song is one of my favorites. It's another favorite track that I had the privilege of creating, but just being able to see another interpretation of this song take on a new life, a new level of embodiment is just magnificent to me. So more while those of you who are still in the room, I know there's 3 of you here. I'm talking to a big audience of 3. 3 is a good number. 1, Lifetime or Light Travel, which is the first volume. Second volume is Moter Sanctum, and that's when this song came about. And the third volume is a little bit darker, intentionally, because I'm like, this is really light, and it's called Master Intelligence, and that's when Professor Clock has arrived. So for those of you who don't know who Professor Clock is, he's a guy who existed during the burnings of the Great Library of Alexandria, 300 BC. And he had developed this time capsule, and he managed to escape. He was escaping a very chaotic moment. He escaped in the future, only to find out that, guess what? There is no library. The library does not exist. It is burned to the ground. It does not exist in that state. Well, excuse me, if you know anything about the Library of Alexandria, you know that scholars believe that there was human civilization. I'm thinking there may have been information about how the pyramids were built, or how Stonehenge was built, or the seven wonders. And because of the calamity and the wars and everything that was going on during that time, the library was burned to the ground. So now Professor Clock's in the future, and his time capsule became defunct. And he's here, and he can't get back because there is no library. And the library had all of the information that made his time capsule work. So what does he do? By the way, yeah, my favorite part. What does he do? How does he get back? Well, the story, it goes on. The story is still being written. The story is being written in the form of collaborating art. This song is called Master Intelligence, and I'm going to play a little bit of that while I'm talking. There's the collaboration of art, collaboration of dance, and any other form of collaboration. The beautiful part about this project is that it is no longer my project, it is our project. So if you are an artist and you want to be involved in any capacity, please, I welcome it. I've done my part. I've laid the foundation, the basis of, you know, in my limited scope of creativity. Again, I'm not a pianist, or I've, you know, taken and oversample things, and I've added fill recordings, and I even did things with my throat and with my voice, and all kinds of weird things just to create sound. So Takara's question is, what happens when these vibrations leave you and become audible? What's my creative process? Well, earlier, what you've missed was that I talked about the creative process was literally just the process of allowing. Just allowing to be. I would get in, I don't even know how to talk about my creative process. It's always about feeling how I felt. So I would create something. It would be very bare bones, and I'm understanding that Periscope is crashing, which is throwing you guys off. Like, is that right? Somebody basically Tommy just told me that Periscope's crashing. Sorry, I'm not sure why Periscope's crashing. It's not because of me, because I only got 4 people in the room right now. So Tommy, is it your fault? No. Maybe I'm putting out too much energy for Periscope right now. I don't know. But back to the creative process. Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, more kisses. Or the phone. Maybe it could be the network. I'm on a dedicated line, dedicated thing. So as long as this stream keeps going, we'll see. Anyway, back to the creative process. I don't really have one. It is literally just me intentionally sitting down and deciding upon a bass. You know, I'm like, maybe I'll do something fast and I'll create you know, a beat with 116 BPMs, which is what Lifetime is, 116. And next I'll add another layer. Think about paint, correlation of paint. I'll come back and say, all right, let's put a little purple here. Oh man, this needs a little green in this spot. It needs a little of just probably like somewhat of some cerulean or sage would be a nice color. What about some white? Sometimes there's abstraction. A lot of the tracks are very abstract, so they're just bare. And I didn't want to embellish, because what the intention behind the project was that I wanted it to be a foundational basis for other musicians to come and say, I think I can tweak this and add my keyboard here, or my bass here, or add my guitar here, or how about some flutes here? And ultimately, the goal of this project is to be able to take this glorified demo, for lack of a better description, and have an orchestra created, and take the dance that you'll see next Friday, 9 o'clock at La Villa School of the Arts, at 7:30. You take this dance and really be able to take it with an orchestra and take it on the road, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? It's not my project anymore. It's our project. So if you know someone that you think would be interested in working with me or working with us, send them my way. Go to ProfessorClock.com. Have them contact me. Go to my website, DamienLamar.com. Have them reach out to me. It would mean a lot to have a professional, skilled, trained musician, vocalist, artist, composer, painter, somebody that wants to just paint to my music. That would be great. An art show. I don't know. Whatever. It's up to us as artists to make this thing become something. If you want to be involved, let it grow its legs. Let it become something else. I think I'm done talking. I've talked to you guys ear off for about 9 minutes and 53 seconds. One thing I'm going to leave you with at the very end, those of you who stuck around as long as you did, booted off and all, if you are planning to come to the Cooper Morgan Dance 11th year summer concert, it's going to be again at La Villa School of the Arts, located at 521 West Ashley Street in downtown Jacksonville, and it's in a historic area. La Villa, look it up, the Harlem of the South. Next week on June 24th at 7:30, there's going to be an honors reception right before that, where Cooper Morgan, the company, will honor 2 people in the community that actually get an award because they're paying it forward. And there are 2 individuals. You can find the press release on their website at coopermorgandance.com to understand what's going to happen and what the project's about. But again, they're going to be dancing to this entire body of work, so it'll be something that you want to see. You don't want to miss this. If you come, you can go to Eventbrite and you can put in a promo code, PClockPromo, and you'll get $5 off your ticket. Just saying. I don't know, man. That's the deal. So if you have a student, general admission ticket or a VIP ticket, not the student tickets. Student tickets are $15 and the general admission tickets are $20. The VIP tickets are $30, and that allows you, the VIP area allows you access to the reception, the concert, and then a Q&A session where you can actually meet the company, the dancers, and ask questions. And it's just really special, I think. But again, PCLOCK promo, PROMO. Add that to your cart in. Oh, come on, yeah. We like to have. We trying to do it up in Jacksonville. We really trying, but I think it's something that is going to be remembered and appreciated. We're tying in arts education along with this, and the company members are they're outstanding, and their devotion and just being part of the rehearsal process it's just been beautiful. And I'm amazed and just blown away by how this entire thing came to be. So if you want to come enjoy, let us know what you think. Thank you guys for sticking around as long as you have. Sorry about the connectivity issues. I may be doing another one of these, but next time it won't be announced. It'll be sort of impromptu. and maybe I'll have a larger following and more people will be interested. So again, thank you. This is my magnum opus. It's the evolution of the New Adventures of Professor Clock series is going to be something that I will continue in my lifetime. And I hope that you as an artist or musician, singer, vocalist, whatever capacity that you want to be involved. As a matter of fact, you can go to, I don't want to talk about that. There's a special announcement coming later on. But anyway, go to ProfessorClock.com or DamienLamar.com to learn more about the project and or to get involved. Thank you guys for being here. Good night. You're welcome. Thank you. Love you, Takara. Bye.